is how we do. That's me, that's right, that's me, that's right, that's me, damn right.
One. One. 1, 2, 1. 1. 1, 2, 1. 1. 1. 1, 2, 1. 1. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. Hello guys, and you're all very welcome back to IDS Round 4 2025. Hope you're all enjoying the show at home, and we are live down here on track with the track walk, where we are getting up and close with some of the drivers and cars. So guys, if you want to follow me over here this direction, we're just going to stay within, not get ran over, we're just going to stay within zone of the tower so that the radio mic can get the signal, of course, back to the tower. So if you'd like to pan around here and show us this fine selection of top 32 cars, we have 32 of the country's best competitors currently lined up here on track. We've opened the track to the spectators. It's a track walk, and basically the spectators can get up close and personal with the drivers and some of the cars. We're going to nab a couple of these guys if you want to come with me here, and we will try to get some information and see exactly what's happening. Owen Magner is my first victim. Oh, In the Lines is my first victim. In the Lines, you look like a man that's up for an interview. You know, excuse me for surprising you there. You've come back this year with a new power plant. You looked super aggressive there on the second qualifier. Have you found a huge difference in the step up to pro? And do you think that the new engine setup is an awful lot of a step up and an awful lot better than what you have come with previously? And did you need it for pro?
Yeah, definitely needed it for pro anyways. It was hard to get used to the more power, more grip, more speed, everything. But finally starting to get used to it now and actually car the way I wanted to drive it. So hopefully can stay driving it like that now for the rest of the day and bring it all the way to the top of the podium.
Hopefully, yeah, exactly. You look fantastic in the second half of qualifying there, to be honest. If we look at the battle bracket, do you know who you have? Or oh, you do? Yeah, Nicky Davey in top 32. So Nicky in a borrowed car, maybe not as comfortable as he would be in his own car. How do you fancy your chances?
Look, it's going to be a tough battle. I don't think there's any easy battles anymore in top 32. So it's going to be a tough battle. I'm just going to have to drive the best I can, hope for the best. So
that's all you can do in that. Thank you very much. All the best for the battles. And we'll move along here. Owen Magner being a superstar, young man from Mallow. Thank you, guys. Owen, pop the hood, man. Show us what's under the bonnet of this crazy 2.2 litre still. SR20, so 4 cylinders on. A little bit of a more challenge than driving the 6-cylinder engines. You've made the step up to pro this year. You're cementing your place in the pro class this year. And I mean, how are you feeling about being a pro driver these days? Do you feel like do you think that you're ready to challenge for the win next year, or do you think there's another year or two of learning?
Firstly, anyway, it's a privilege to be recognised as a pro driver in Ireland. Like, look who's beside me, like, they're unbelievable. Like, everyone's recognised here as a serious driver. But in terms of being good enough, it's hard to know, because this sport, you need everything to be going right, to have good practice days. You need to have, like, the car running right through, no mechanical issues, which has been kind of the story for me this year. But kind of take it as it comes. I'm not sure whether I'm fully ready for it or not. But we're here. We've got Kevin Quinn in our battle, and we're just going to go out and give it everything, see what happens, and we'll have no regrets and just have a good time. That's all you can do on. And this engine, I'll step over to this side of you here a little bit. This engine, obviously it's quite responsive on the throttle and everything, but it's going to be, you see quite a big turbo here and only 4 cylinders and not a huge amount of cc's to get it going. Is it a little bit more difficult? Obviously you've driven some of the bigger JZ cars in your time just for practice or whatever. Is there a little bit more driving in this? Do you have to keep the turbo spooled up? Is it a little bit more difficult? Last year it was very difficult to drive. If you didn't have it spooled up before you come off the handbrake, you might as well just not been drifting like. But this year we put a new head on the car and we have the same turbo, and it is very responsive. It's absolutely lovely to drive, and to be fair, the engine hasn't really let us down much this year, bar set of injectors. Other than that, it has been perfect. Just been other small stuff, but I've no complaints. It's lightweight with 4 cylinders. It's a dream to drive. That comes on at about 3,000 RPM. It's just everything is there, stays cool. Just what else would you want? And it sounds absolutely class as well. I think everyone can agree there. It does sound absolutely class. Owen, all the best. You're from the best part of Cork anyway. You're nestled in between the Deans and the Shanahans there. Hopefully whatever's in the water, some of the rest of us can get some of the talent. All the best for the battle as well. As we move it along, we can't pass this guy by. Definitely can't pass this man. It's Harry Kerr next. Harry Kerr is the man of the moment. He seems to be absolutely infallible at the moment. Harry Kerr, come over here. Gorgeous man. The Ballymoney Bandit. Harry Kerr, what have you done this season? You've just too much. So Harry Kerr, you always had it in you. You always had that X factor in you, but you will agree yourself, you also had a mistake in you as well. You sometimes pushed a little bit too hard, maybe overcooked it. You're still pushing to the limit, but you seem to be able to go to like 100% now, not 105%. Have you dialed back your game, or is it just that you've gotten more used to it and you can just find the end limit a little bit easier? What's changed this season to give you that consistency along with the aggression?
It's just driving so much. Like, that weekend was my first weekend not doing an event in 3 months. I'm in the car every weekend, like, and you're all pushing hard, but like when you're pushing to what something's going days like a lot of driving done this season. It's going so well so far, so hopefully we can keep the streak. Yeah, absolutely. You're driving it well in Scotland there. First battle is against Mark McKevitt, who is having his own issues. Would you be scared entering? Mark McKevitt has had steering issues in qualifying, and his car is definitely not 100%. So what do you do in that situation? Do you come in a little bit more tentatively, or do you think you're just going to send it as Harry Kerr sends it, or what's the story? I mean, it's pro battles, like, you just have to send it no matter what. You never know what's going to come out of the bag, Absolutely. Well, Harry Kerr, always entertaining. We're looking forward to seeing you in the battles. You're in the championship, buddy. We'll move it along here now, and I don't see Stephen Halfordy, but I do see Cuba. Cuba, I know you very well. You eye me all the time at Group D, unfortunately. But you know what?
all jokes aside, we're always glad to see you. You look very comfortable. You look like a man that's very, very much having this machine as a dancing partner. You're firing, you're full throttle, full commitment. How are you feeling this season? Everything you had to step up to pro. You're Pro 2 reigning champion. Do you feel like there's been a big step up, or do you feel like you just really made a slight progression from the class that you were in, and you feel comfortable instantly because you look comfortable?
Yeah, so I was driving in pros last year as well, so it wasn't nothing new for me. But the thing is, I think level of drifting this year raised up a little, and there is a bit more pressure on me, more focus, and yeah, I'm really happy what I'm driving this year, but it's not like last year as well. So I have to fix my mistakes. My spotter are not happy, and I have to make sure everything gonna be fine later on.
Maybe tell your spotter to be less cranky, because we think you're a great driver, Kuba. Who do you have in the battles? Oh, Sean Curry.
Yeah, so he's very good driver. We'll see how it goes. I'm chasing first, so I'm gonna give 100% of it. So be ready for wreckers or checkers.
Okay, love it. Guys, that's Kuba. We'll see him in the battles in just a little while. Can't pass this man either. Look at this live. Look at this. It's like a model parade almost. Look at this from David Garvey, looking absolutely. Can I say sexy on air? I can't. Looking sexy. Yeah, got the shades. We've got everything. So yeah, Dave Garvey, your car, your race boot, brand new car. You look $1 million. You're driving $1 million. Tell us a little bit about this all new build. You look really comfortable in it instantaneously.
Yeah, well, look, we were building this car with 5 years. We sent it down to Group D. They've done an awesome job in this car. They've just done everything from top to bottom. She was a full mega spec body kit, and she's run on 59 North wheels. Like, there's a lot of time, of blood, sweat and tears, you say, gone into it. Look, from the word go, when we tested her up here for the last round up here, the car went flawlessly. Now, we had a few issues with the bit of rubber going into the time belt, but for that, to loads of people this year, and we're after solving that problem. It's a dream to drive. It goes where you want it to go, and it's making me look good, I think.
Possibly. Well, don't be too hard on yourself, because you've come back into competition and you've looked very comfortable. What's it like? You just said that it's a dream to drive, but what's it like to sit into 700 brake horsepower, newly built mortgage? Is it? Will we change battery in the mic? Yeah. So we're just going to take a second here, guys. Change battery in the mic. Let's give it a second. In the Drift Championship. He is also, of course, our head technical guy, bringing batteries in as needed. So we're just going to move it on. We have about 5, 6, 7 minutes left in this. Dave, you've popped the bonnet of this crazy PS13. You were hinting on what's it like to drive basically a rolling mortgage like this. How much fun is it to be out here and doing what you love doing in the likes of this kind of build?
Look, there's no other better feeling. Like, it's just crazy when you're coming down there full throttle and there's someone right beside you doing the exact same thing. There's no other better feeling. Like, yes, obviously it costs mortgages money, but you have to forget about all of that. You'll obviously cry on the way home when you have this broke and you have that broke, right, whatever. Like, but in the moment you're just like, I'm going for it. There's just I want to be on that podium kind of way. So you have to have that mentality. If you're trying to look after the car, you're not going to do well. So worry about it on the way home.
Exactly, worry about it on the way home. Well, Dave, it's a credit to you. Fantastic engine bay, fantastic build, and we wish you all the best later on in it, and looking forward to seeing you out there in this. If you come with me here, guys, we're going to skip ahead because we are running a little bit short on time. Probably best that we don't talk to Kevin Quinn anyway, it might be safer. Dylan Garvey's car there, if you want to pan over here, just looking absolutely like $1 million. Beautiful Fuel Lab livery there, all white livery with blue and gold, yellowy gold graphics there. What a fantastic looking livery, rocking the Strom wheels there, looking absolutely beautiful. Jack Mawhinney driving his own car for the first time in a while, turbo BMW power there. Jack Mawhinney, absolutely crazy man, and looking forward to seeing him. As we move it along here, of course, Damien McKiernan with the DMAC Motors beautiful 180SX as well, the car that gets the most punishment ever on the grid, that RB absolutely being completely and utterly annihilated every round with the limiter. Clark Hatton is here. Clark, can I grab you here a second with this amazing M2 BMW? Clark, you might have an accent which is a little bit more native to where we are at the moment, but you know, you've taken a year. You've taken a testing year, and basically, are you having fun up here, and are you feeling that you're gelling with the car a little bit more, because you are starting to look like you and the car are starting to become quite the duo?
Yeah, I'm starting to get really confident in the car. Well, the clutch is going a wee bit, but yeah, atmosphere here is amazing, and the track's lovely. So we're just going to keep pushing hard and try to get as far as we can, but yeah, I'm feeling confident for now, but yeah.
Absolutely, Clark. Thank you very much, buddy. We are looking forward to seeing you as well, and what you can do in that chassis once you are fully bedded in. Devon Lee, he is here. Really briefly, we're at about 3 or 4 cars left. Devon, we're going to have a little bit of a conflict of accents there now from Clark's. You're down south like ourselves. You're East Cork, West Waterford, just about. Devon, GT86. Can you show us the engine bay of this thing, please? So, guys, obviously the GT86 comes out of the factory with a 2-litre boxer engine. It's a Subaru, really. But, Devon, this is very much not a 2-litre Subaru boxer engine. Tell us a little bit about this car. It's absolutely crazy. We see a huge V8 under the bonnet here of the GT86.
There's not, I don't know, is there any other GT with a V8? There's not many I know around. It's a LS engine, Samson's box sequential.
And it must be absolutely crazy. Is there huge torque? Does this kind of engine just get going from tick over, basically? There's no lag, obviously. It's not turbo, but does it just pull from absolutely nothing? Is it really nice to drive that way?
Yeah, like some cars you come in, you're clutch kicking it to get boost. That you just give a throttle. You don't need to touch the clutch. It just pulls the whole time, like.
Just pulls the whole time. Well, Devon, always exciting to watch. You're lighting your rear tyres on fire every other round. Always great to watch. So we're looking forward to seeing you out in the battles later on. Another GT86 right alongside it here. You can see the one of Sean Owen Curry with RB power there. Big, huge Garrett turbo hanging off the side of this one. And absolutely similar power levels to Davon's one there, but a completely different build. Davon spoke there about the response from that engine from zero tick over. Sean Owen Curry with a very different setup here, if you can pan over here to the engine, so you see the aftermarket inlet plenum and everything, and the big RB in the middle, but quite a very large in fact Garrett turbo here with a big back turbine housing on it. Very different car to drive to Davon's car there. This thing will be completely different. It'll have a power band. You'll probably have to get this thing singing up around 4,000 RPM before it's actually making quite usable power. So it's very, very different driving styles which both cars will need. Similar chassis obviously, but very, very different styles of engine. We move it along, and this is of course the giant killing car of Bartek Plazetsky. He has been absolutely taking names this weekend, and he has taken down some big names in qualifying by out-qualifying some of the biggest drivers out there. I'm not sure if Bartek, is he about? Yes, he's here. Come here, Bartek. You look like you love, he looks like he loves an interview, does Bartek? Superstar driver in the making. Bartek, get used to it, because you know what, the way you're driving, you're going to have a lot of interviews coming up, buddy. What's it like to be out here on the pro grid? You've been driving like a man possessed all weekend. You're so in control of this car, and I mean, you don't have a lot of horsepower. What's it like to be out here on the pro grid and punching well above your weight?
To be honest, I can't even believe that I'm here at the minute. Just the fact that it's such a low horsepower car, like, and I get to compete with all these high horsepower cars that have more tyre grip and all, but I got a lucky pick in top 32 with Sean Watts, so hopefully go and send it on his door.
Yeah, well, relatively similar horsepower levels. Tell us a little bit about this, because we just saw 2 GT86s with obviously huge engine swaps there, both running roughly about 600 brake horsepower, maybe a little bit more. Your car, tell us a little bit about this, and what kind of power is this putting out?
So this engine is a 3.2 Evo from an M3 that has 340 brake and 380 torque, and that's about it.
That's about it. A stock 3.2 M3 Evo engine, basically. So yeah, absolutely crazy. So you're giving away basically half the horsepower of the two GT86s, which we've just seen. Well, we look forward to seeing you battling Sean Watts. Similar machinery, and you know what? Two top drivers, and big up, man. You've been taking names. So we had to start a little bit in. We left out the first 4 or 5 cars there because we didn't have radio mic range. But we are at the end here, and just check out Johnny Flynn's beautiful S14 here in the gorgeous light blue and white livery. So I'm not sure where Johnny's probably off fixing plumbing somewhere, so we're not going to... oh, there's Johnny. There's Johnny right behind me. Looking very dashing in white, Johnny, as always. Looking very dashing in white. Johnny, you've cemented your place in the pro class. You're semi-pro champion you're Pro 2 champion from 2003? 2003. You've cemented your place in the pro class. I mean, do you think now that it's time for Johnny Flynn to take the step up next season? You've been battling a few demons in the car there, the reliability, but it seems to be getting there. Do you think next year might be Johnny Flynn's year to start taking the podium places, possibly?
Well, we'll see. Last year was a shite year. And this year we've been doing a lot better, and we're actually lucky we hadn't a major fire there in the last qualifying run. We got that sorted there now, so we're ready to push hard against Stephen Harferty in top 32. It's going to be a hard battle, but we'll just go as hard as we can and hope for the best.
And tell us a little bit about that fire. We saw you stopping and qualifying really quickly. What actually happened?
The fuel rail, the brackets holding on the fuel rail snapped off the inlet manifold, and the whole injectors blew out and fuel came in. But I smelt the fuel before the car started breaking down. I was like, there's something not right, so I just killed the power straight away, and thankfully I did, because last year there was a huge fire here and the car destroyed, so like no one wants to see that.
Well done. Quick thinking there, Johnny Flynn smelled the fuel and actually killed his own car there. So Johnny Flynn, well done. Saved your car, and we're looking forward to seeing you in battle later on, buddy. So if you want to pan around here just to get the first couple of cars that we skipped over because we didn't have radio mic range. Crazy cars, GT86s over there, BMWs, Silvias, everything. And we are almost ready to rock for top 32 action here at IDS Round 4. I'm going to make my way back into the tower with my buddy Eddie Power. We are going to be ready. Eddie's right there, look. Looking dashing behind you as well, and wearing a Molly Kerr top, and we are going to be ready to rock, guys, for top 32 battle action. Give us about 5 to 10 minutes to grid the cars, and we will be with you then. Thank you.
This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right.
qualifying session. 32 drivers remain in the competition. Championship hopes are still alive for our two main contenders. We've got Dylan Garvey in the mix, looking to cause an upset if he can. We've got Pro 2 junior drivers. We've got Pro 2 rookie drivers. We've got a little bit of everything here at round 4. And right now it's anybody's game. We're looking through some of these battles that we've got coming up. And there's some spicy ones. Daryl Barnett taking on Alex Butler, Pro 2 junior driver. We've got Owen Magner taking on Kevin Quinn. Jamie Hines taking on Clark Hatton, 2 youngsters. And graphic on the screen there. Dwayne McKeever taking on Adrian Wheatley. What an opportunity it is for Adrian to try and take down one of the championship contenders. It's all going on. Bartek Blazinjetski is taking on Sean Watt. I mean, what an opportunity that is for that young gun to take a top 16. A very experienced Sean Watt, but 2 very similar powered E36 BMWs. He certainly won't be outgunned, but he will be chasing the experience against Sean Watt, who's very steady. But Bartek will look at that draw and say, you know what, it could have been a whole lot worse in your first ever Pro Top 32.
Yeah, he just mentioned it there in the track walk. He said that he got, in ways, a lucky draw, and what he meant was that he's going to face off against somebody at least with similar power levels to himself and Sean Watt. 2 BMW M3 engines in both those BMWs. So very interesting draw there. Even machinery. Let's see, the better driver might be the one taking that. Quite level machinery. So like you said, Eddie, lots of battles here, lots of up-and-comers, lots of established pros there in the mix as well. We've got a stacked track layout here. I think it's a layout that always gives thrills and spills, especially that initiation. We always see incidents, we always see collisions, and we've seen a couple of drivers even go into the tyres there in the form of Ben Rogers. I do believe Ben Rogers actually had a mechanical issue which forced him into the tyres that time. I heard a little bit in the pits, but you know what? No matter what happens, even if both cars are perfect, it always seems to be a layout just like Watergrass Hill, which throws up some incidents, and I think we're in for an event-filled evening.
Yeah, that's for sure, Mike. It's that entry in particular. A lot of drivers saying just struggling to get that right. It's very difficult. Maybe it won't matter as much in battles, but certainly in qualifying, people trying to get that line. It's such a big first zone, and it's very hard to stay consistently deep in that zone. A lot of drivers dropping in, dropping out, dropping back in again. Just so to try and find that line and keep that rhythm to bring you all the way through that zone on the outermost line, very, very difficult. A lot of drivers struggling with it, and I think it's going to play a big factor in how some of the battles play out here today. I think we're going to see a lot of those battles won and lost in that first zone.
Yeah, it definitely, and also, as you enter the second zone there's quite a long drag over between 1 and 2, and I think, the cars do tend to pick up quite a lot of speed, especially on these semi-slick tires. They pick up quite a lot of pace between 1 and 2, and then they have to kind of scrub it all off again really quickly. So we usually do see sometimes if the lead car scrubs off quite a lot of speed quite suddenly, the chase car can plow into it sometimes almost over there, and turn 2 is also a well-known situation in Bishopscourt to throw up a little bit of incidents here. So yeah, like I said, it's going to be an incident-filled evening usually in Bishopscourt, but hopefully nothing too serious. But you know what? It's always entertaining. The crowd are having a good time here. We just had the track walk. A lot of the drivers there had the hero cards and signing autographs. And it feels like the Irish Drift Series, Eddie. During COVID there, obviously Dave Egan left, COVID happened, and the championship lost a lot of drivers throughout maybe 2020-21. And it feels like the Irish Series is, after those pro drivers then maybe moved on, left and went on to do maybe a bit of life stuff, it feels like the strength and depth this year is back in the series.
Yeah, I'm slightly laughing beside you, Mike. Yeah, they moved on for some life stuff. People, drifting, unfortunately, it can't be part of your life forever. There's some more important things that people have to move on to and deal with, but we are very much feel like we're coming back to, a point where this championship is really, really strong. And I think the next few years is going to be very, very exciting. But taking a look at the screen, if you're watching at home on our streaming service, our championship contenders tied going into the final 2 rounds. Although not so much tied at the moment, because Harry Kerr will have taken a slight points advantage as our highest qualifier.
Just 1 point.
By 1 point. Okay, so it's not much, but it's enough to be in the lead. So we do have a championship leader outright, and it is that man on the right-hand side of your screen, Harry Kerr, leading Dwayne McKeever going into 2 rounds. I'm just looking to see, can I see, where is Dylan Garvey. We know Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever are on opposite sides of the bracket. Dylan Garvey could meet Dwayne McKeever potentially in the final four.
Yeah, semi-final, final four.
Harry Kerr has the likes of Owen Magner, Kevin Quinn on his side of the bracket. David Garvey, who went well here, he could face Jakub Krzyzek in the top 16.
We could have Harry Kerr, Jakub Krzyzek, exactly. Yeah. So I mean let's not count out. In the Lions has actually well out qualified Jakub Krzyzek in his battle. So let's. He looks so good in qualifying. Let's say nothing.
Jakub was saying, we were talking about the tyres earlier on. I spoke to Jakub in the break, Mike, and he was saying that he's actually happy now that because he's struggling so much to keep tyres on the car over the course of 2 runs, that maybe being in the chase position going up against Sean Owen Curry in the first battle will actually play to his favour. But could we see Jakub take on Harry Kerr in the top 16? That would obviously have huge implications for Jakub's charge at a top 3 in the championship, but also Harry Kerr's title chances, because if he was to take down Jakub, it will put him into a grade 8, which would be a huge step forward. Dwayne McKeever obviously has Dean Byrne or Davin Leahy potentially if he was to overcome Adrian Wheatley, so neither of these two championship contenders, should they make it out of their top 32 battles, have an easy top 16 battle ahead of them. So the nerves are going to start to be playing a factor here, and it's going to be who can hold their nerve better, I think.
Well, you know, Eddie, just as you were speaking there, Sean Healy, our head marshal today, just told me that Davin Leahy is out of competition. We just spoke with him there and looked at the V8 under the bonnet of his GT86. I'm not sure what exactly has expired. Oh, it's a release bearing gone, so Davin Leahy with no clutch. So release bearing gone in Davin Leahy's car. Davin Leahy, no transmission. Obviously you need the clutch. Even though you got a big V8 and you don't have to clutch kick that V8, you still need to get off the line and be able to control the car on the handbrake. So Davin Leahy, we're being told, guys, is out of competition, meaning that Dean Byrne, who is in 3rd place now in the championship because he will have leapfrogged Ryusuke Akiba, Dean Byrne will now get a bye. Well, not yet, but he will be very soon. He will be in 3rd in the championship. He will be after getting a bye run into the top 16. So interesting stuff already happening here. Yes, Dean Byrne is on 154 points, as you can see on screen. Ryusuke Akiba on 203 points. So by the top 16, Dean Byrne will be definitely knocking on the door of Ryusuke Akiba in 3rd position, who is not present this weekend. So I'm just looking here as well. On the right hand side of the bracket, in the top right corner of the bracket, Lee Scott is in that bracket as well, and he will be facing off against David Curtis first. We also have Jack Caldwell against Damien McKiernan in there, and Dean Byrne. So Dwayne McKeever is facing off against Adrian Wheatley, but should he get through Adrian, he's got a tough run.
I just think it's so interesting, Mike. You know, you look for certain names on the list, and then you look a little bit closer and you go, do you know what? There's just no easy route.
No,
it doesn't matter where you are. There's no easy route. And you know, not to discount the people, not to discount Mark McKevitt, not to discount Adrian Wheatley, we do have to look at the path for the potential path for our championship contenders. Who are they potentially going to face? Should they come through these battles? But Mark McKevitt, he struggled with his car.
Yeah, I mean,
had some problems this morning. It's going to need to be right here if he's going to have a chance against Harry Kerr.
Well, we are ready to rock for top 32 action here, and Harry Kerr leads us in. Mark McKevitt to follow as the lower qualifier, and Harry Kerr said he's just going to send in the BMW despite Mark McKevitt having some issues with that car. Now Harry Kerr leads us nicely around zone 2 here, opening up a big gap, Ed.
Yeah, opening up a huge gap, Mike, and you know, McKevitt driving well, and Kerr seems to be working quite well from here, which is a positive sign, but just not able to hang with Harry Kerr as Harry does what Harry does, and it looks like a strong advantage.
Not a care in the world.
Not a care in the world. Very well done, Mike. I'm impressed with that one now. It's not often you get me. You've got me on that one.
Of course, brother of the famous Molly Kerr is Harry Kerr.
Yeah, I'm sporting one of her jerseys, her Molly Kerseys as I've christened them.
Molly Kerseys jerseys, exactly. Yeah. Molly Kerr competing in Pro 2 yesterday in the 350Z, and Harry Kerr, yeah, once again is the brother of the famous Molly Kerr. So Harry Kerr looking good there, taking a big advantage into his second half of the top 32. Mark McKevitt definitely with some gremlins this weekend, also getting I think getting that car dialed in a little bit, Eddie, so maybe not 100% Mark McKevitt is. So Harry Kerr is back to the line here. The Red Bull ring start line, of course, IDS in 2025, brought to you by Red Bull and Lucky Day Competitions, both fantastic supporters of Irish drifting with the past few seasons, and thank you very much to those fantastic companies as we see the Red Bull start line moving there in the breeze.
Yeah, quite a lot more wind this afternoon than there was yesterday or Friday, Mike, and you can see all our flags and the tents and gazebos and everything that we have here are just taking a bit more of a battering today, but thankfully no sign of the rain like we had in the conditions that we had at round 2 here. It's been a fully dry weekend so far. It's been a great weekend's drifting, great weekend's action. And here we go, second half of this one, top 32 battle. First one, who's going to take the top 16? Big fast entry from McKevitt, almost lifts and almost goes 3 wheels off, or 3 wheels and 1 wheel up in the air, but Harry Kerr now starting to close that gap down as he tucks in to the pocket as they make that fast, snappy transition back onto the wall. Dab of the foot brake there for McKevitt as he tries to settle that car before making the transition back towards that final section. Across the line they go. Harry Kerr closing that gap and getting that proximity, and I think over the 2 runs, Mike, Harry Kerr may have just edged the advantage there, but you know what, Mark McKevitt will go back to the pits happy with that. He would have been expecting to take down Harry Kerr.
For damaged car, especially good lead line. I want to point out one thing. Look at Harry Kerr doing that pop, that dive transition that he can do. He can pop out of the smoke of another car. He just knows how to make the beamer hook up as he just changes direction through the transition. We've seen him do it so many times, and he's already doing it to a lesser degree, but I'm sure he will pile it on. And Harry Kerr does indeed advance to the top 16, and Mark McKevitt bows out. Will be delighted to qualify as he did, Eddie, with a car that wasn't 100%, some damage on the suspension. But Harry Kerr continuing his championship charge to the top 16, and he will have to face off against the winner of this battle.
Exactly, so he'll go back to the pits, but he'll have a firm eye on what's happening on the track out here ahead of him, because Sean Owen Curry taking on Jakub Krzyzek. Sean Owen Curry in this incredibly fast GT86, Mike, really hooked up. Jakub, though, well able to just get the grip down in this car as well. So I think this could be a really tight battle. I suppose form-wise, you'd say Jakub may have the edge here, but who knows? Sean Owen Curry well able to pilot that car on his day. Here we go. Nice line. Oh, almost front wheel to front wheel contact through that first section, Mike.
Yeah, Jakub almost in big trouble there. His aggression almost got him caught in the pocket there with Sean Owen, but Sean Owen goes way off track.
Way off. Yeah, way off.
Way off track, yeah.
Hits the wall, and that's a good, 2 or 3 feet beyond the zone there as well.
Did he DB, Eddie? I mean, he's after damaging the back wheel, the back suspension there. No, was there contact? There wasn't. Sean Owen just gets himself into trouble, tries to reinitiate.
Here's the question though, Mike, because was there contact on initiation that caused that? It looked to be front wheel on front wheel.
There was front wheel on front wheel. You're dead right, Eddie.
Nothing with the rear wheel. Now, does this rear wheel DB'd as a result of contact with the wall, or is the contact with the wall as a result of the DB going into outer zone 2?
Or I'll throw up another option here. Did the contact front wheel to front wheel from Kuba to Sean Owen Curry, did it affect the toe angle? Did it affect the suspension or the steering of Sean Owen Curry's GT86, making it impossible for him to get a clean transition and get the car set up for the wall? So has the geometry basically changed on the front of Sean Owen Curry's car after the contact?
Yeah, very good point, Mike, and obviously that would impact his ability to put that car on angle and slow it down going into that zone. So a lot of play, a lot for the judges to try and unpack here. Thankfully, Mike, we can just, mumble about it. We don't have to commit to anything one way or another. We're
loving the commentary life compared to the judging life. Much easier. But Sean Owen Curry is definitely, after sustaining some damage in the back of that car from the contact with the wall. I mean, the toe plates will tell the tale. If you put a set of toe plates on the front of that car, had a look at the tie rods or one of the control arms of that car, would it tell the tale that there has actually been some damage on the front left corner that affected Sean Owen Curry's ability to keep that car under control? I'm not sure. It didn't look like a big contact, to be fair, but it doesn't take a lot to bend the tie rod.
No, especially not when it's front wheel to front wheel like that. And of course, both those, it might not look like the biggest of impacts because both vehicles are going at the same speed. But yeah, we're going to move it on. We're going to let the judges just figure out what went on that one, Mike.
5 minute rule for Sean Owen Curry, I would say. Yeah, so
potentially competition timeout as well. So
yeah, potentially it'll depend. Of course, it will be a competition timeout if the judges deem it to be Kuba's fault. It'll be a competition timeout if it was Sean Owen Curry's fault in the eyes of the judges. He will have to call a 5 minute rule. A competition timeout basically lets Sean Owen Curry fix his car until the end of the top 32 battle bracket. A 5 minute rule does exactly what it says on the tin. It allows Sean Owen Curry to get his car to the pits, and once his mechanic puts their hands on it, his 5 minutes starts, and then he has 5 minutes to get the car repaired and leave his pit box. The timer will be on him from our marshals in the pits there, so we will bring you that information as soon as it becomes available.
So we move along to our next battle, which we'll see Enda Lyons taking on Nicky Davey. Enda was, said to me in the break, Mike, so happy with how his second run went that he was just, he felt like, all the pressure's off for the weekend. And sometimes it just takes one run like that where you just feel like you're completely in the zone to make, just I suppose to put all your cares behind you. He's going to go in here into this top 32 battle with a clean mindset, feeling relaxed, feeling comfortable, knows that he has what it takes to take down Nicky Davey, who's struggling a little bit more, qualifying down the order in 25th position. But who knows, anything can happen in these battles, as we so often see. But they are getting themselves ready to leave the line. Our Marshal Kevin hits the button on the traffic light system. We see that red, amber and green. We are go. So here we go. End the lines, opening up a huge gap down the straight as Nicky Davey, a little bit late to leave the line, does have the option to leave the line on the amber light, chose to wait for the green, but now he's starting to close the gap as he onto the door of End the Lines. And End the Lines again just taking up where he left off in qualifying with that really strong lead line. Does drop in and out of that final zone, but a really strong performance from him overall. But look at the gap here on run-up, Mike.
Judges,
you will see the judges looking back at that. Was that initiation legal? Of course, there is dotted lines painted down the centre of the track. The lead car must initiate within their side of the track during battles. They do have the full width of the track for qualifying.
Yeah, look at the dotted lines there.
Yeah, it looks as though he was well within that.
Excuse me. Yeah, so I mean,
yeah, not to be confused as well. There is concrete lines down the runway as well.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not the line we're talking about. We're talking about the dotted, painted line that's on the ground. So,
yeah,
it looked to me on that replay that ended was well within his lane.
Yeah, so the judges, you can see that at home, guys, exactly what the judges are watching. If you are watching on the live stream, or even if you're here at the event, feel free to pull out the phone, have a look, and you can see the replays back. Once again, as we leave the line now, Nicky Davey not looking as comfortable as he might, Eddie. But you know what? In the Lions has made a mistake on entry here, Eddie. But Nicky Davey has dropped a wheel, if not two, off there,
Yeah,
Ed.
definitely two, potentially even three, Mike. But yeah, a bit scrappy from both of the guys here. Neither one doing a great job. This one could maybe come down to the first runner. Oh, but Davey shuts it down.
Yeah, Davey shuts it down. Not looking comfortable in his son's car there, unfortunately. Nicky, of course, with the S15 usually drops, possibly even 3 wheels off, well spotted. So Nicky Davey dropping 3 wheels off, including one of the front wheels there, going well off track. And then, unfortunately for him, shutting it down and not going to plan for the Davey Dad. So just making this official, guys, as the judges' result drop in, going through to the top 16. It is In the Lions goes through to the top 16. The man from the West making his way into the next battle bracket. He'll be delighted after his qualifying performance. Nicky Davey looking under the back of that car, possibly broke a shaft or something there, I'm not sure. But we move along to the Red Bull start line, and Eddie, look who it is. It is Dave Garvey in the newly built S13 against the series sponsor Conor Duggan. It's a Group D car versus a CDM sport car, and it's going to be fireworks in this one. Conor Duggan with a strange sounding V8. It didn't sound that healthy, but it probably is back on 8 cylinders after that little bit of time out there. Dave Garvey with the big turbo 2JZ engine S13. So 2 different ways of doing business here, Ed.
Yeah, 2 completely different ways of doing business here, but both led to a top 32 spot and a battle against each other. So who's going to take that all-important top 16 spot? Interesting battle here. I think Conor Duggan making his way up from the Pro 2 competition, and really steady driver. Did notice that he's running the road tyres, so I think he might get caught for pace down the straight here, Mike. I think that's going to be the teller. But you can see gets the early start off the line, and he's absolutely gunning in here to try and keep up with David Garvey. Contact again. Front wheel to front wheel sends Garvey off circuit.
Yeah, Garvey stays in it. Garvey loses the front bumper, as a result annihilates part of his bodywork there. Conor Duggan steamrolling in there and maybe using a little bit too much pace, Eddie, maybe trying to make up the deficit a little bit too hard. Dave Garvey stays in it, does not take a dive, does not do Cristiano Ronaldo on it, doesn't hit the ground, stays going, and maybe Conor Duggan was just thinking about what's thinking the same as you said there, Eddie. I'm on the street tires, I have to stay with this guy from the get-go, and maybe as a result, let's see, did Garvey lose a lot of speed or anything as we go back for the replay? Didn't see anything funny from the lead that time, to be fair, Ed, but let's have another look at the replay just in case Dave Garvey did unexpectedly lose a lot of speed all of a sudden. He had a double initiation for sure, but did seem to get into the corner pretty cleanly then.
Yeah, the question is it enough, Mike? And it's Conor definitely coming in hot, but I don't think he was overcommitted, by any stretch of the imagination. He definitely was full throttle, trying to keep pace. We'll get another opportunity to see it maybe after the second half of this one.
Yeah, I was speaking with Conor Falvey, or it's his first time judging, obviously a Drift Masters European Series competitor, 17 years of age, top 10 Drift Master driver already. He said, the judging's not too bad, nice handy day yesterday, and I did agree it was straightforward. He's getting a bit of a baptism already here in Pro.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be an easy task here this weekend. Here we go, second half of this one. Will it tell the tale a little bit better? As Conor Duggan on a near perfect lead line there as he fills that outer zone, and Garvey struggling just to chase down the slower car maybe a little bit here, but tucks into the pocket nicely and doing a good job of keeping steady proximity as he makes a fast transition. Almost makes contact, but he starts to drop wheels over that line through that final zone.
Wow.
Good job from Conor Duggan in the lead position. I think this one's really going to come down to what the judges deem to have happened on that first run, Mike.
Yeah.
And it's little movements like that, the little corrections on entry where it's so difficult to decide from a judging perspective, was that little shift from Garvey enough to cause unsettle Duggan in the chase position to then justify the contact through the first corner. So
yeah,
this
guys,
is certainly not clear.
A big round of applause, guys, for Conor Duggan and Dave Garvey putting on a show here. They're out of the cars over there, and definitely an event-filled battle. And we can announce going through to the top 16 as Conor Duggan moves through to the top 16. So the judges seeing something there on the initiation, I would say, from David Garvey. So Eddie, you were just speaking with the judges there, would you?
No, just wanted to double check just if they needed to clarify anything, but they're happy enough. Oh, Kieran Hines is going to just talk us through that one.
Yeah, just Kieran Hines.
Look, it all comes down to the first corner. David, when he was initiating, he kind of initiated and then he kind of angled. He lost all his angle and actually straightened up quite a bit before again getting back on angle. And I think Conor had no choice; he had nowhere to go really. So it was just like we like to see the initiation being predictable by the lead car, so the chase car can time it and be able to get on the rear quarter, which is what we want here. But when you get initiation like that, and there's a little bit of an error there on the initiation, it's very, very difficult to be able to time it, and I think that's why the contact happened.
Thank you very much, Kieran Hines, and that is it clarified. So Conor Duggan does move on to the top 16. We have the tyres warmed, we're ready to rock. It is Stephen Halferty versus Johnny Flynn on the line. It's a BMW with 2J power versus S Chassis with 2J power, and it's going to be a tight battle, I would say, Eddie. Johnny Flynn, we spoke with him there as well, and the drivers' parade, and looking to cement his place as one of the top guys in the Pro Championship.
Yeah, just hasn't had that run of fortune yet in the Pro Championship, but as you say, former Pro 2, he's coming in hot here, he's going to be contact. Yeah, look, and this is it, Mike, and I know this from experience. You're coming up against good drivers, you're going to get rewarded for being close through that first section. Somebody like Halfrey is going to be on your door coming through that section when you're in the lead position. Johnny Flynn doing everything he can, but you come a little bit too hot in there. It's really hard to scrub the speed.
Halferty shut the car down there before the finish line as well. I hope that's just because he knew that the run was over. Like you said, Ed, that's exactly what happened. You're completely right, because let's just watch here. I think Johnny Flynn just came in too hot possibly, but you know what, if you have a little bit of a potentially handier battle, you're not pushing quite as hard, and it is risk versus reward. If you're going up against Stephen Halferty, you know that he's not going to make a mistake. You know that you have to beat him. So therefore, I think Johnny Flynn might have just pushed to that 105% rather than to 98%.
Interesting to see Johnny's line there as he ended. It looked like one wheel maybe over the line on initiation. Initially you thought maybe was he far enough across just to lose grip, but I don't think that would have been the problem with where he was. But
yeah, and I think, as you mentioned there, Ed, earlier, he might have just gone slightly offline and caught the marbles and the dust there, just a tiny bit offline, and maybe over-rotated as a result. The rear right tyre not catching grip there, and maybe just firing him around and over-rotating.
So we wait for the marshals just to get the track set up and safe, and get those water barrier markers back down where they need to be just before we release the second half of this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Johnny Flynn in the lead position this time around with Stephen Halferty to give chase.
Johnny Flynn looking very happy there, Eddie, in the live stream screen on his screenshot.
He's always very happy, man.
On his profile picture. So yeah, ready to rock. Johnny Flynn on an old money 10-0 disadvantage to Johnny Flynn. Stephen Halferty in the lead. All he has to do basically this time is not do anything silly, saunter around behind him, leave a little bit of a gap, not too much, and he will be booking his place in the top 16.
Yeah, and you know what, Mike, and it's something that we always say about Halferty, but this is an exact example of the situation where you really feel like you need to push hard in order to beat him, but he doesn't ever push himself too far beyond his own limits in order to try and gain the win. Johnny Flynn dropping wheels off the track. Halferty straightens up. So a few errors there, but maybe as a result of the lead line from Johnny Flynn, perhaps. But Johnny really having to pedal hard to try and force an error from the lead position here, with Stephen Halferty tucked in behind him. And certainly that straighten from Halferty I don't imagine would be enough just to justify a 10-0 the other way around. So I think it should be Stephen Halferty going into the top 16.
Yeah, it's not going to be a 0 for Halferty. So as you said, it should be Halferty going through. I think in this case, this is a situation where Stephen Halferty's reputation actually won the battle for him quite easily, because again, you know that he's not going to really make mistakes. You have to beat him. Johnny Flynn pushed too hard on the first one, overcommitted, made the mistake, and Halferty's reputation as being very, very hard to beat and not making mistakes won the battle for him here pretty much. So we're just going to make sure that the judges agree with us. And what do we know? As always we say, we're just commentators talking about this, but the judges just watching this one again, making sure that there's no zeros. I mean, Halferty did kind of get opposite drift there, and a big correction. If you look at it on the drone footage there, Halferty did get actually, his wheels were pointing in the other direction. So let's not make any assumptions about the winner of this one again, Eddie, because Stephen Halferty, let's see if the judges, I don't still think in our rules that it's a 0, but
you know what they say about assumptions, Mike?
What do they say about assumptions, Ed?
I don't know, I said you know.
Oh, I know, yeah, I won't tell you though.
Well, you can see Johnny Flynn.
Is he like that he's going smoking a fag after?
Yeah,
is he?
well, I hope that's what he's doing. Him and Halferty having a conversation. Guys, give them a round of applause. Stephen Halferty and Johnny Flynn putting it all on the line for your entertainment. And could this be the day that Johnny Flynn... Yeah, Halferty's not sure. Neither driver is unsure, so...
Yeah, so we're just listening in, eavesdropping on the judges there, and they're having quite a good look at the initiation here, if it was actually Johnny's fault or not. Johnny dropped a wheel, but this could be, hang on here now, Ed, because this could be a situation where the judges are saying that Halferty is actually getting a 0 for that straighten because he ended up in opposite drift as such.
Yeah, well, that has to be the conversation that they're having here, Mike, because that's what they're looking at. That's why this decision hasn't been handed through just yet. So could we be seeing potentially a one more time for this battle? As I said, it didn't look like the greatest of straightens the first time around, but when you slow it down and look at it, but it looks as though a decision is in, and I think going through to the top 16 is Stephen Halferty. Give it up for Stephen Halferty, and give it up for Johnny Flynn, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Johnny Flynn there looking gracious in defeat and smiling as always. So we'll be seeing the Mayo men back for round 5 in Kerry at the start of September, all going well. And Stephen Halferty books his place, the first driver in the bottom left of the bracket. Now we go back to the line for this one. It is Sean Owen Curry versus Jakob Krzyzak on the line.
Yeah, second half of this battle. So if we throw our minds back, there was contact wheel on wheel, front wheel to front wheel contact through the first corner, then a D-bead and a wall hit, in not necessarily in that order, and going down into outer zone 2.
I can decipher what's going on here because it was a 5-minute rule for Sean Owen Curry. If he got a competition timeout, the judges would have deemed that it was Kuba's fault, but since it was a 5-minute rule, it's Kuba at the advantage here.
Yeah, and here we go. Kuba fires it in. Oh, Sean Owen Curry coming in 2 hot, drops 1, maybe 2 wheels off the circuit as Kuba shoots forward and opens up a gap here as Sean Owen Curry looks to try and cut the track to gain back some of that proximity as Kuba throws that car onto the wall very quick through the run here. And yeah, Kuba doing a really good job there, getting through the circuit nice and quick. You can just see Sean Owen Curry on that initiation just struggling to hang with the Polish driver, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder, Eddie, the sun has gone in now, and I wonder, has the track temperature dropped a little bit?
Definitely will have, Mike, especially with that wind as well. It's going to be cooling the track consistently.
Yeah.
So will we have a decision straight from the off? And it is Jakob Krzyzak going into the top 16.
Looking very menacing there in
where
his
he will
picture.
be facing off against Harry Kerr.
Yeah, so it's Harry Kerr versus Kuba in the top 16. That's going to be absolutely insane. Neither driver knows how to turn it down, both always up to 11, so that's going to be absolutely nuts. Now, speaking of absolutely nuts, Alex Butler is on the line. Pro 2 Junior, the winner of Pro 2 yesterday against Daryl Barnett. It's youth versus experience once again here in IDS. It's BMW versus BMW, and it is BMW Turbo versus 1JZ Power. So crazy battle here about to unfold right in front of us. And Eddie, who takes it? Is it going to be youth or is it going to be experience here?
Well, it's really hard to know because similar power figures here. 470 horsepower under the bonnet of Daryl Barnett's car as he hunts down the young gun Alex Butler, and Alex looking really strong in that lead position, Mike. Certainly not looking like a fish out of water, and he's holding his own here against the very experienced, very talented Daryl Barnett. Barnett cuts the track there to get a final jump onto the door, but a very close run overall between the two. Look how just comfortable Butler looks in that lead position.
Yeah, looking for all the world like a pro driver, and I was getting some information earlier from the marshals, and they said that Butler is actually using Westlake semi-slick tyres, so they procured some semi-slicks for the Sunday competition, and he's basically now on a level playing field with the pros here.
Well, what a transition that is as well, Mike, from yesterday to today. Making the jump up, switching onto the grippier tyres and not struggling, managing it really well. It just goes to show the level of talent that young Alex Butler has. And, to be able to just, move from yesterday's road tyres onto the grippy tyres and still nail the line with no issues is quite a testament.
Yeah, you see it with the young guys always. They're so adaptable, though. They're not as set in their ways. You throw something at them and they can learn really quickly. And I think it just comes with youth, to be honest.
It certainly does. Yeah. Well, that's what we'll say because it kind of makes me feel a bit better about struggling with it so much. So here we go. Second half of this one. Daryl Barnett with the more experience to lead them in the second half of the battle. And it's crazy to think that someone like Daryl Barnett, with the years of experience that he has, is the lower qualifier in this top 32 battle against a Pro 2 junior driver. Just goes to show again the talent that is coming through the ranks here in the Irish Drift Series. Here we go, second half of this one. Barnett to lead them in. Here comes Butler though, right on the back bumper, straight from the off, as Barnett fulfills that first zone. Butler drops off and now makes a huge dive down the inside, jumps onto the door of the E46 of the Railway Auto Spares of Daryl Barnett. Barnett goes wide, gets back on it now for the transition as Alex Butler looks to make one final dive onto the door into the outer zone 4 and across the line they go.
Yeah, lots of aggression there from Butler in the chase position. I think there might have been a little bit more consistency in the chase from Barnett. Also, Butler cut the track a little bit on the way in, but you know what? The aggression from Butler might have been a little bit more than Barnett. So, I don't know. It's going to be a very, very tight one. The judges are going to have a chat about this one. They are mic'd up together. They can only hear each other actually in the headset. So they're having a chat about this one, and the results are dropping in.
Yeah, and going through to the top 16. Give it up for Daryl Barnett. But ladies and gentlemen, what about that? What a run and what a weekend for Alex Butler. Podium top step yesterday, and a rising star of the sport, and another Pro Sunday for him. He's racking them up at this stage. Could we see him making his Pro Rookie season next year? Well, that remains to be seen. We move it on to our next battle. Two young guns, two Pro 2 drivers in the top 32 and a Pro Sunday at round 4 of the Irish Drift Series. Jamie Hines, the Pro 2 junior, to take on Clark Hatton, the Formula Drift Pro 2 driver.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So I would say there's a combined age of about 32 here and a combined horsepower of about 1100.
Yeah, here we go. Jamie Hines to lead them in. Not sure if Jamie Hines has switched to semi-slick tyres, if he's staying. Oh, look at the big dive. Shoots forward here from Clark Hatton. Has the sense to just straighten that car up a little bit, dial some of the angle out of it just to try and slow it down, and manages it well. Oh, big contact with the wall from Jamie Hines. Has unsettled somebody, stays in it, gets back on the power, the rear wing, rear bumper hanging off, and it's absolute carnage on that run. But two youngsters having an absolute blast, man.
Yeah, having a blast, Eddie. You can't help but be having fun. And you touched on the tyres there. From my information, once again got from the pits earlier, Jamie Hines actually stuck with the road tyres for today's competition. Clark Hatton is on semi-slicks to our knowledge, hence maybe the difference in grip in the cars here, that you can see the BMW just able to kind of spring through the transitions there and make the gap pretty much as he wanted it. Jamie Hines overcommitting into zone 3 as we see Barbara there getting stuck in, and hopefully being able to get the rear boot lid off of that car with the spoiler attached. And let's watch again here now. But Clark Hatton very much on the inside here, Eddie. Totally sacrificed zone 1. Now popped through the transition, and great proximity there from Clark, but definitely sacrificed a lot of zone 1. So the judges might have been seeing this one very level up to the point of the wall contact. Yeah, but it was a big wall contact. He was 2 feet into that wall, Eddie.
Yeah, huge impact with the wall, and did well to keep it going, but it's quite a sizable mistake. You can just see the rear wing comes off the landing gear, and
yeah. What a place to watch as well, Eddie, if you're over the spectators there over on the far side by the wall with the guys in the orange deck chairs there and all the guys with the hands up. What a place to have camped up. Well done, guys, because that was well thought out, because that is the place you want to be watching, right on the wall contact there.
Perfect viewing point, actually, Mike, when you think about it. I mean, the action is right in front of you. It's like the bottom of Bray Hill at the Isle of Man TT.
It is indeed.
It's like the perfect viewing point, and they come past you at such speed, and it's really lively spot, but you have the action there just meters in front of you. So
it's a fold out chair, Red Bull in hand, everything is good, the weather is nice. It's not too hot, not too cold.
Just get the protective eyewear on, just so that you don't get any shards of fiberglass going into your eyes when they make contact with the wall.
Yeah, I would advise that. A couple of pairs of shades maybe over there, exactly, because they are quite in the firing line there. So Clark Hatton now making his way down, just cooling the BMW. Of course, we'd probably see this later on, drivers going for cool down laps. We always mention it, that the drivers or the cars are put through some abuse up here, and they are putting out 600-700 brake horsepower. Of course, that builds huge amounts of heat, and according as the evening goes on, that heat just builds and builds throughout the car. So you will see drivers maybe taking a lap to cool down the car there later on, according as the heat soak becomes an issue. Now Jamie Hines just driving his car, make sure all is good here, getting his tyres warmed, and it looks like we are almost ready to rock with the second half of this battle. Once again, about 32 years of age, combined age I would say, between these two, Jamie Hines and Clark Hatton. 32, 33 maybe between both of these drivers, which is absolutely crazy to think.
If even,
exactly.
If even. Jamie Hines is what age?
Jamie Hines is, I believe, is he 15, 16? And Clark Hatton is 16, 17?
Is Jamie Hines 15, 16? He's not 14?
No, he's about 15.
15.
Yeah.
Here we go. Second half of this one, Clark Hatton, and you can see the pace difference already from the semi-slick tyres to the road tyres as Jamie Hines cuts the track to try and get on the door, does make the big dive. Oh, Hatton has to slow up quite a bit. They make contact, Mike. And we said it was going to be explosive. We said it was going to be action-packed, and it certainly is. And unfortunately, Jamie Hines, he's backed out of this one. But Mike didn't get a clear look at what exactly happened going into that second zone. It was a big dive from Jamie Hines. He had cut the track in order to try and gain proximity, but did something happen in the lead position to then cause a problem for him? Well, we get an opportunity to see it on the replay here.
Yeah, I think he was just trying a little bit too hard. He knew that he was under pressure. He knew that he was outgunned in terms of tyre. I think he was just trying to do a lot there, and unfortunately, it was too big an ask. It didn't pay off for him. And yeah, indeed, Clark Hatton advances to the top 16. Clark Hatton goes through to the top 16. Jamie Hines, guys, round of applause for young Jamie Hines. Fantastic weekend for him. One of the young guns of IDS, and we'll be seeing him in action once again at around 5 in Watergrass Hill for Pro 2 competition on the I believe it's the 24th of August, but I will double check that. Now we move it along to another young gun, but a seasoned pro at this stage. It's Owen Magner from Killavullen in Mallow, right across the way from James Dean and over the road from the Shanahans, against another young gun as well, Dean Davey in Pro 2.
No, it's actually Kevin Quinn.
It's Kevin Quinn's car, sorry.
The graphic is wrong, but here we go.
Yeah, it is indeed Kevin Quinn. Well spotted, Eddie.
Yeah, so Owen Magner in that lead position now is Kevin Quinn. Well, we talk about Kevin Quinn, ever competitive driver. You never know what Kevin Quinn you're going to get. Is he out for a bit of fun? Is he out for a bit of competitive action? Is he on the hunt for a podium? Well, it looks as though he's in the mood for it right now as he hunts down the door of Owen Magner, and Owen Magner gets across the line. Really strong lead run from Owen Magner. But Quinn right there with him throughout. Look at that line all the way through that first zone. Really impressive lead line here from Magner. And yeah, not a whole lot wrong with it. Did he stall up a little bit? We're hearing the judges discussing that one. Quinn just comes a little bit shallow as they came towards outer zone 3. Gets back into it though, back on the wall. So this one definitely in the balance going into the second half of the run, as we see Quinn now on the line in that lead car position.
Yeah, crazy.
Magner just takes an opportunity to try and cool that car down and gets back to the line. Maybe just having a little bit of a word in the ear with the spotter, just to try and assess how hard do I need to go. And I think they're going to be saying to him, Mike, you need to go on his door.
Crazy Kevin Quinn, I would say. Yeah, you need to go on his door exactly. Owen Magner has to push to pretty much 9.5 out of 10 here, I would say, in order to take this battle, if not 10 out of 10. So he will be absolutely sending it in behind Kevin Quinn here. It is 2JZ versus SR22. Let's see which one comes on top. Kevin Quinn does the usual. Kevin Quinn rolling burnout. Oh!
Contact. Definitely going to be contact through that first corner.
Wow, contact on initiation, contact her on zone 2, I'd say as well. I'm not watching the drone footage there, I was watching it in the flesh. We'll have a look back at the drone. Look at this stuff from Owen Magner. He has the pace, he absolutely has the pace. Both cars transition, it's double S chassis battle, and Owen Magner seems to have the grip and the pace city there. What a run.
Yeah, really great run from both guys. You just see again contact through that first corner. It's you know what, it makes me feel a little bit better about my performance yesterday, Mike, when you see so many drivers having contact through that section of the circuit. It just goes to show how hard you need to be pushing, but how difficult it is to try and scrub that speed in the chase position, to try and keep on the door and keep in the fight. Obviously the judges saying yesterday and in briefing this morning that chase drivers will be massively rewarded if they can stay close through that first section. Kieran Hines saying, you know, the rest of the track is almost not easy, but it's easier to be close and have proximity. Where you're really going to win these battles is through that first section. But they are watching this now quite closely here on that replay, Mike.
Judges watching this one very closely. I mean, Owen Magner came absolutely barreling in, but the judges having a good chat about this one. I can hear Kieran Hines speaking about a few things there. Was Kevin slow, or was Owen overly fast there, Eddie?
I think it's about where he actually applies the. You can see he's just.
Yeah.
So they're talking about two things. So Kevin handbraking, Magner goes early, then there's the front wheel to front wheel contact. And I mean, it's the smallest of margins, Mike. These things like.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, you know, he just handbrake dragged through the transition, through the initiation, rather than flicking it and then handbraking. So watch, he handbrakes very early there, just as he rotates. Not saying that caused the issue, but he will definitely have lost speed. You know, that's okay to do as well, because it is a decel zone. Is it up to the lead car to initiate a little bit faster, or is it up to the chase car to preempt the fact that he'll be braking, Eddie? That's what it's going to come down to here.
Look, I think the question is the timing of it, and it's split second timing.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to have a chat to the judges afterwards here. I think I'm overhearing them saying that Kevin Quinn might have been heading for the inside of the clipping zone there rather than the outside where he was supposed to be. Just overhearing that, we'll have to confirm that. But it's going to come down to that possibly on initiation there as they watch the replay here. Once again, guys, if you're here in Bishopscourt watching live in the flesh, thank you for joining us very much. And if you want to see these replays and scrutinise the run as we are here, just get out the phones, fire on the live stream on YouTube there, and you can watch the replays back as well and act as a judge as well.
You know, and you know what, Mike? It's runs like this where, you know, judges get so much heat online, and it's very easy to sit back and say, you know, such and such a driver was robbed or that decision was wrong. Try and pick out from the minor details of these runs what exactly is, you know, who's more at fault for X or who's more at fault for Y. It's so difficult to try and diagnose what exactly went wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just looking at the comments, a lot of the people in the live stream saying Magner's fault, I'd say, was about a lack of angle from the chase. Cosbonot says, and or nobody's fault, he says. So yeah, the live stream split on it as well here.
Racing incident.
A racing incident, exactly. We might see run him again, Eddie. Indeed. So could be. Do
you know what, Mike? I think that's at some point you have to say, if you have to look at it for this long,
yeah, it might just be.
Is it just easier just to run it again and get a clean battle?
Yeah, just exactly.
Or hopefully get a clean battle.
If you have to watch it that many times, is it actually anybody's fault? Is it just that Kevin might have just slowed a little bit and went to the inside of the track a tiny bit? Maybe Owen came in a tiny bit hot as well. They collided. Racing incident. You go again.
And you got to remember, it's very easy to slow this down and analyze it in slow motion, but it didn't happen in slow motion. It happened, you know, in fourth gear for most of these drivers at a lot of speed, probably upwards of, you know, 100 to 120 kilometers an hour going into that zone. So these things are split second things that happen very quickly, and to try and say that one driver was more at fault over another is really difficult.
You know, I mean, both drivers still stayed in it, Eddie. It wasn't a run defining moment either. It didn't cause a zero either. So I mean, you know, look, both drivers stayed in it. Owen did have a huge straight, and Owen did have a huge straighten after that. Okay, it might be run defining in that aspect. In that he, it's going to give one of the two drivers an 8-2 or a 9-1.
Well, Mike, I see pen going to paper, guys. Before we get a result, give it a round of applause for two drivers, Owen Magner, Kevin Quinn. Do we have a winner, or is it go? And it is a winner, and going through to the top 16. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Kevin Quinn. Kevin Quinn moves on to the top 16. Mike, we need to go back to the judges for this one. A lot of deliberation, a lot of looks at the camera. Kieran Hines, talk us through what it is that you guys determined happened on those two runs.
I think I might have mentioned it earlier on, about having a predictable initiation. A predictable initiation is where obviously the chase car is able to dive straight onto a car because you can predict what he's doing. And I'll be honest with you, I think Kevin Quinn's initiation was very borderline on that one. He does big rolling burnout, he does a weight transfer coming down, and then just after he's done his final transition to initiate, he actually comes on the handbrake. I think that was difficult for Owen to anticipate. But today, a lot of people are initiating on the handbrake here. In qualifying, I think, if I'd be honest with you, Harry Kerr is the only one I think who's initiating not on the handbrake. So a lot of it, so we have to be a little bit lenient on it because a lot of people are using the handbrake. But it was very, very borderline. I mean, we were here. I would honestly say I think there was almost a little bit of shared fault here. I do think Kevin Quinn's initiation wasn't great. But it was still, Owen was also a little bit out of position where he initiated, so there was a little bit of shared fault there. The first one was equal enough. Second one, Owen takes responsibility for the majority of that contact, and that's enough then to give Kevin the win, I think. But it was close.
Well, thank you very much, Kieran Hines. Expertly explained there as always, and that puts it all to bed. Eddie, any deliberation? That is it explained from the eyes of our head judge, Kieran Hines, and the other two judges, of course, Tomas and Conor Falvey. As we move along to the Red Bull start line here at IDS round 4 in Bishopscourt, and leaving the start line, this is a big one for the championship. It's Dwayne McKeever leading in Adrian Wheatley.
Yeah, Northern Smoke Machine in that lead position, her second place qualifier, but Adrian Wheatley she makes a dive. Hard to see in the smoke, Mike, but it looked as though it looks as though she's safe. It really did look as though Adrian was going to go into the tyres hard there, but she seems to have got that car turned around and stopped, and looks as though it's going to be a 10-0 advantage for Kevin Quinn as we look to the replay.
For Dwayne even.
Oh, sorry, for Dwayne McKeever. Sorry, the brain is all over the place.
You're too excited, Eddie.
After 3 days, day 3 of drifting.
Yeah, I think Adrian there knew that she was in the wrong side to get into the pocket of Dwayne's car there, and I think she might have just grabbed some handbrake in order to extend the drift a bit, and as a result, just the front caught gripped in and just slingshot her around.
It's a daunting prospect as well for a driver, rookie season and pro, going up against one of the best in the business. I mean, Dwayne McKeever, young and all as he is, he's still like a legend, and he's also very much an idol for a lot of drifters in Ireland, and the opportunity to go up against him in a battle would be enough to unsettle quite a lot of drivers. So Adrian can be forgiven for that mistake. Now she has an opportunity to lay down a perfect lead line for Dwayne McKeever. Can she do so? I'm sure she can. She started off a very nice outer line as McKeever makes a dive onto the door. An expert chase driver, of course, McKeever, one of the best in the business, as Adrian does a really nice job. A little dab at a handbrake just to settle that car onto that outer zone.
Yeah.
At the wall, switches it back and gets herself across the line. And you know what? A little bit of redemption there. And self-pride for Adrian Wheatley. Really strong lead line for that.
Yeah, beautiful lead line, beautiful angle there from Adrian, especially after zone 3 there. And you know what? She is a pro driver, and she's all day long a pro driver. But what a dream it is to be able to battle Dwayne McKeever up here in Bishopscourt. I mean, you can look back on this moment and say, I battled Dwayne McKeever in IDS Pro in the national championship, and in the lead run.
Mike, the photograph alone. Is worth the hundreds of thousands of euros.
She's delighted. Look,
of course she is. Yeah, she's chuffed, chewing the ear off.
Look, she's laughing. Yeah, she's like, oh, Dwayne.
Guys, give her a round of applause. Our only female pro driver, Adrian Wheatley, giving it up to Dwayne McKeever. Dwayne McKeever moves on to the top 16. Championship still alive for Dwayne, and Adrian will go home with a memory that she won't forget for a long time.
Yeah.
Big hug for Dwayne, and she's absolutely thrilled.
She's
That's what it's all about, Mike.
That's what it's all about.
Never mind winning, it's all about just getting an opportunity to hang with the best in the business.
Yeah, she's going to have
that opportunity.
She's going to have the picture, like you said, Eddie. She's going to get that off from one of the media. Maybe give them a few quid for a high-res version. Now we have a boy run here, and always good to see Dean Byrne. Devin Leahy out of competition with release bearing issues. Dean Byrne, always great to watch. Fantastic looking car, sitting pretty in fourth place in the championship. About to make himself sitting pretty, I would say, Ed, at this stage, heading into third position in the championship after this run, I would say, roughly. Close enough, anyway. And Dean Byrne, Eddie. Dean Byrne, okay, he made his way up through the ranks, made his way up through Pro 2, and he might be just about to put himself in the way of a Pro Championship podium.
Here's the thing, Mike, right? Here's where it is from my point of view with Dean Byrne. Dean Byrne has been a very consistent top 16, top 8 driver for the last year and a half. At round 3, he finally gets his podium, and the only people that have really been taking Dean Byrne out of it have been the likes of Harry Kerr, the likes of Dara Spencer, the likes of Dwayne McKeever. He now has an opportunity to go up against McKeever, where the pressure's on McKeever to do well and perform. But Dean Byrne is driving really well. He's got the confidence that comes with getting a podium at the highest level in Ireland. He is going to be gunning for that opportunity. Dwayne McKeever is going to need to be at his absolute best in the top 16. Mark my words, because Dean Byrne is fast around here, and I think he has what it takes to be competitive. We move it back to the start line, where Jack Caldwell takes on Damien McKernan. Caldwell leads them in, big angle, goes onto the wheel. Again, it looked as though there was almost contact, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, usually the top 16 is where the battles really heat up, but we're being treated in this top 32 to incidents and crazy runs. Look at this great angle there from Caldwell. McKiernan sticks it right to him. It is Sylvia versus Sylvia here, and a beautiful transition there into the last section from both drivers, and perfect tandem battling there, Eddie, exactly as we want to see the chase car mimicking the lead car. Lovely lead line there from Caldwell. Still himself a young gun, even though he's driving so long now, we almost don't consider him a young gun anymore, because we're so used to seeing him out on track doing what he's doing. Of course, a rookie champion in the past, or sorry, junior champion in the past. And you know what, I think that it's still all to play for after this one, because Damien McKiernan was kind of seemed to have the pace there from his 180SX, and look, he just gets into formation once again with Caldwell there, so I think it's very level going into the second run.
Yeah, look, no real major mistakes to pick at. You know, I think looking over the 2 runs, I think, yeah, look, particularly when we've seen the carnage that's happened on some of the runs so far, this one wide open going into the second half of it, and I think pressure on McKernan just to put in a really solid lead run, and pressure on Caldwell to get on the door and get that proximity and keep it steady and consistent. Nice clean entry from both drivers. McKernan maybe not as deep into that outer zone as he would have liked, but certainly getting on a reasonably good line as he looks to try and fulfill outer zone 2. So far, not able to shake the tail of Caldwell. Is starting just to maybe fall away. Needs a big dive here just to give a bit of a statement as they cross the line. I don't know. I think McKernan in that one, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the form book, okay, you're going to be tipping Caldwell for this one. If you were a betting man, you'd probably put your hard-earned on Caldwell. But, I mean, he just... Caldwell, he didn't have the proximity to McKiernan that McKiernan had to him. I mean, both lead runs were relatively similar. Not bad at all from each driver in the lead position. And if you look at the proximity, if that's to be the separator, if the chase is to be the separator here, McKiernan is looking better in this one for me, Ed.
Yeah, I think it's tight, Mike, but yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be close.
One of those where, you know, certainly not perfect runs, but no major mistakes from either driver to pick at. As we go to the judges for a decision, is it going to be McKernan or is it going to be Jack Caldwell? It's going to be Jack Caldwell moving on to the top 16.
What do I know?
Jack Caldwell moves on to the top 16. Yeah, Mike, you know what? From a commentary point of view, when you're not paying attention to the, you know, exact little intricacies of it, very difficult to decide on a battle like that, but the judge is calling it in favour of Jack Caldwell, and he moves on to the top 16. We move back to the start line, where it is Lee Scott to take on David Curtis. Lee Scott making his return here to the Irish Drift Series, and I really hope, Mike, that he's you know, going to be a feature, a regular feature here, because what a driver this young man is, and always an absolute pleasure to see him out on track. Pulls a huge gap down the run-in, but not able to fulfill that outer zone fully. And here comes the charge from Curtis, who's offline himself, but looking to make the dive onto the door. Not perfect from either driver here, Mike, but no major mistakes, just not on the deep wide line that the judges would want to see. As the gap starts to open up now as they come through the final sections, Curtis makes a huge cut of the circuit, to try and gain some proximity and nearly takes Caldwell out of it.
Yeah, David Curtis there trying to make up
or
for
Scott
maybe,
rather.
maybe making up for a lack of pace possibly there in the S14. Interesting point about Lee Scott's car here is it is actually the ex car of Tomas Falvey, one of our judges here, still in the old Drift Games livery. But it's not old livery, but it was the livery that it was in Tomas's ownership. So still a great looking car. I do believe we saw Tomas battling his son, who is alongside him in the judges tower now in this car previously in Watergrass Hill. But yeah, so that's the next Tomas Falvey car in the hands of Lee Scott, and we swapped them around. And you know what, this is the part I was looking forward to. Now Lee Scott, we mightn't be treated to a typical Lee Scott crazy chase here, because he knows that he's at a big advantage and he might just hold it back a little bit. But Lee Scott is one of the best chase drivers there has ever been seen in this country, so let's see what he can do here.
Yeah, I think he's still trying to get dialed in onto this car, but look at this, straight from the off, goes aggressive, Mike, just like what you were saying and what you wanted to see, goes right onto the door. And again, look, beautiful dive onto the rear quarter of David Curtis, and Scott needs to try and avoid getting caught down the inside there, but manages it beautifully, tucks back in, makes the transition. Oh, and Curtis way offline, but Scott deals with it.
Yeah, definitely. Crowd loving that one.
Yeah.
Lots of applause from the crowd there for that one. And
Lee Scott fan club, I think.
The Lee Scott fan club in full effect here. Once again, of course, Lee Scott is Harry Kerr's uncle, actually. So we might see, if both drivers progress to the end, we might see an uncle-nephew battle. We've seen lots of family affairs and drifting over the years. Not sure if we've seen uncle-nephew battle.
Actual affairs.
Not actual affair. Well, who knows?
Well,
but
probably a few of them as well.
Well, not that we know of anyway. So let's get back to business anyway, and the results are in. And it is Lee Scott goes through to the top 16. David Curtis bowing out of competition, making the little SR sing and clutch kicking its way to yet another clutch, I'm sure. But yeah, that is all she wrote for Dave Curtis. Now Lee Scott will be facing off against Jack Caldwell, I believe, in the top 16. Now we move along to the next battle in our top 32. It is none other than Dylan Garvey back in competition with his newly built, beautiful looking white 188SX with that gold and blue livery against Justus Aranskas, who is also in a very distinctive car, the little 1 Series BMW. And Dylan Garvey leads us in a lovely handbrake from Dylan Garvey, very Japanese style, the very cool looking car there. Justus Aranskas leaving a little bit of a gap open up there. Now he wants to really get on the door here, because Dylan Garvey, he has the line, he has the initiation, he has the style. It has to come down to proximity here from Justice. He wants to claw back some points here, and he does try to find the door very much at the end there, but maybe just does not quite find the proximity that'll make the judges think that this was a very level one. So I think, to be fair, Dylan Garvey is going to be carrying possibly even the likes of a 7-3 advantage in Eddie into the second run here, because Justus Aranskas, even though his line was pretty good, he just did not have that proximity that the judges will be looking for. And he actually sacrificed outer zone 3 very much there as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's got to be tough coming up against a driver like Dylan Garvey in the top 32, or just at any stage of the competition, because he's so talented, and he really is, just one of the top level drivers here in Ireland. And you know, 2-year absence from the sport to build this car. They've taken their time with it. If you get an opportunity to have a look around it, really nice build, and you know, really professionally done. But behind the wheel, he's an absolute monster. And here we go, second half of this one. Justice, just again, you can see from that drone shot, just not fulfilling that outer zone the way he would have liked, and you know, starts to get into it here now in true outer zone 2. But Dylan Garvey, just a master in the chase position, just able to maintain such consistent fluid proximity, makes a big dive. Look at that transition, how they didn't make contact, Mike. That was a masterclass in transitioning onto the door from Dylan Garvey. And if you get an opportunity to see that again on the replay, just look at how close it was between 3 and 4, as Dylan Garvey, no need to make such an aggressive dive.
Yeah, I mean,
even the judges are talking about how he's risking it. Look at this, wait for this now here, right. Here we go. Boom.
Wow.
Incredible
Judgment for the front bumper. I mean, Justice,
Dylan
in Justice's favour there, a great lead run made it very easy for Dylan to chase with a fantastic lead run there, but treated to a fantastic chase there is what we were. And Dylan Garvey does indeed advance to the top 16. Justus Aranskas with a great lead there, very chaseable, and always treating us to seeing that beautiful green, black and white livery on the 1 Series Auto Fab BMW. Unfortunately, that's the last we'll see of Justice on track, at least for the afternoon, and Dylan Garvey will book his place in the top 16, and he will face off against the winner of this one, Eddie, the battle that we spoke about earlier on. It is naturally aspirated M3 power in 2 E36 chassis, 3.2 couldn't be any tighter car-wise.
No, I think the only difference here is a 4-door versus a 3-door, and experience of a Pro 2 rookie versus a veteran in the Pro class. And Bartek, the higher qualifier here, and he is more than a match. Look at this big error here from Sean Watt.
But Bartek running wide as well, Eddie, so not so clear-cut, I think. Sean Watt is in trouble here. He's straightening up and he's a little bit all over the track. Bit of a messy one here. We do tend to see some messy battles in the top 32. Generally, the top 16 heats up and it gets a bit cleaner. So everything was all good up to outer zone 2. So just keep an eye on this one here now, guys. Bartek transitions back. Now Sean Watt pops through there. Quite a straight transition. Now Bartek runs wide. Sean Watt is gone shallow.
The question is that mistake after Sean Watt's mistake? And
yeah, are they related?
Yeah,
did Sean Watts kind of stall up a little bit because Sean Healy tells us that they're not related at all? Yeah, it's Bartek Pleszczewski versus Sean Watt. We know they're not related, Sean. We are on about, are the incidents related?
No, so that's a good point. They're not related.
Not like Lee Scott and Harry Carr.
One's from Ballymoney.
Yeah, not like Lee Scott or Harry Carr or the Peter and Andrew Malloy yesterday, battling brothers. They were related, but these guys aren't. But were the incidents related, Eddie? That's what we were saying.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
That's what we were talking about.
Maybe we'll get a cleaner cut version of big aggressive entry here from Sean Watt as he looks to try and give something for Bartek to try and deal with, but he completely misses that first zone, Mike, and that's going to really hurt the score from his point of view. But look at this from Bartek, glued to the door of the E36 of Sean Watt as Sean takes it towards the wall, and Bartek, well, he's driving like a man with experience beyond his years here, gets it across the line.
Yeah, battling Bartek Pleszczewski there, and fantastic chase, to be fair. I mean, okay, very much sacrificed outer zone 1, to be fair, but look at it from here on in, just after zone 2. Just manages to find the wing, find the door, that BMW of Sean Watt, and make his BMW stick to it there. Sean Watt doing a pretty good job in the lead position. Bartek then popping through the smoke and just finding the door around outer zone 4.
I think if you look at the 2 runs, Mike, with the exception of the wheels dropped for Bartek, I think Bartek had the better lead run, and there you go, winner for Bartek Blazonjetski going into the top 16. Give it up for Sean Watt though, but give it up for the Pro 2 rookie driver Bartek Blazonjetski Jr.
Yeah, exactly. Battling Bartek Blazonjetski Jr. the third, and yeah, the man with the longest name in drifting now. And we move it along to the Red Bull start line, of course. Once again, guys, IDS brought to you by Lucky Day Competitions and Red Bull, 2 fantastic companies and 2 big supporters of drifting in Ireland. So be sure to support those companies. In return, Red Bull, of course, running crazy events in sports all over the world and supporting motorsports and extreme sports of all kinds, doing fantastic things from flying planes through tunnels to getting guys to jump from space who, sadly passed away, Felix Baumgartner there recently. But absolutely fantastic stuff Red Bull are involved in and support athletes throughout the world, including Conor Shanahan, our own fantastic drifter, of course. Now Jack Mahoney leads in. Paulius, delicious and judicious. Oh, and Paulius, he was too ambitious, Eddie.
Yeah, over-committeous,
ambitious, judicious. And yeah, Jack Mawhinney is going to Winnie, because that wasn't Jack Mawhinney's fault, Eddie. I think it was
no,
just.
It certainly didn't look like it from.
It was a bit suspicious from Paulius Judicious.
I think it was just overcommitment here, really. Is there a shot? No, you can see. No. Yeah, I think
Jack Mawhinney was, as we say down in Cork, flat stick, and yeah, I think Paulius just overcommitted there. Yeah, so once again, overambitious from Judicious, and Jack Mahoney is looking sweet. He'll be Jack very winny if he keeps doing this, I think, and Paulius is in trouble. He's going to have to pull out something very special in the lead position here to get this gap back, because I think it's going to be definitely advantage Mahoney. Mahoney initiates very early here though, and he's after leaving himself a little bit in trouble there. But and now finding the door again of Paulius as they make their way onto the outside of the track here, the far side of the track from us here in the tower. You can see us on the left there in the drone footage as Paulius transitions back onto zone 3, now transitions back again onto zone 4. Mahoney follows closely, and I think, Eddie, even though Mahoney, okay, he messed up, he initiated here maybe just a little bit too early, which took him to the inside of the track a good bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to overturn the mistake. No, that's assuming the judges do say that it wasn't caused by Mawini, but I think it was Pauli's own downfall.
I couldn't look. There was nothing obvious there from where I was watching anyway, Mike, and obviously I think you think the same yourself. That would have caused the spin, other than just Pauli's own error. We wait to see the result, and it is going through to the top 16. Young Jack Mawini. Give it up for Jack Mawini. Give it up for Paulius.
Delicious, judicious.
It's actually down as suspicious on the sheet as well.
Yeah, on our driver sheet, it's down as Paulius suspicious, delicious, judicious. Paulius judicious bowing out, and Jack Mawini moves on. And of course, guys, we'll be getting you involved a little bit more from the top 16 onwards, as we mentioned, and getting the crowd involved and getting a few cheers up for the drivers, because these guys thrive on the crowd interaction as well. Of course, they spend a lot of money and a lot of time building these cars. Now, Ben Rogers is on the line once again.
It's a dangerous place to be for Ben Rogers, if you ask.
On the line?
Because you're coming up on the line, yeah. Because
dangerous place to be on the line.
It is very dangerous, but you're also coming up against Jason McInerney, who can put in 100, a near perfect lead run, but who hasn't been super consistent and has qualified way down the order today. So it's a real question of which Jason McInerney do you think is going to show up, and how hard do you push based on that? Now, I think he's lucky that he's in the lead position for the first half of this one, so he can just concentrate on his lead line and then make his decision on how hard he pushes in the chase from there. But here we go, Rogers to lead them in. This is where he had the problems on the second of his qualifying runs. Looked to have a little bit of a waver, but managed to keep it going. He said that there was a bent tie rod on the car after the impact. Jason McInerney stayed right with him here, kept in the fight, and with that small error on entry through that first zone for Ben Rogers, it's going to open the door up for McInerney to keep himself in the fight here, and it's going to mean Ben Rogers is going to have a little bit more pressure on his shoulders going into the second half of this. Just see that correction, Mike.
Yeah, did you say that Ben Rogers has a bent tie rod?
So he said he thinks that the tie rod broke before the impact with the wall.
Oh, okay, so tie rod failed, and they've replaced that, obviously, because you can't go up with a broken one. But yeah, so possibly this car tracked really quickly, geometry not 100% possibly.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to watch the waiver here. So Ben Rogers initiates, so Menzies initiates, fires into Sylvia. Now, Jason McInerney took evasive action there. He wasn't very close, so maybe he could have stayed in it a little bit longer, but you have to say
that...
Look,
I think he could have taken a dive there, and he didn't, I think he dealt with it, he reacted, and then he got back going, and all credit to him. He's managed to keep this battle alive. We've got the second half of the run coming up. Here we go. Rogers to chase in McInerney. McInerney with a very fast flick initiation. No issues through the first corner. McInerney could have been a little bit deeper through that first zone, but makes it work. Now goes deep into outer zone 2. Ben Rogers all over the rear quarter of that E36 as they switch it back onto the wall. Rogers glued to the rear end of Jason McInerney as they go through the final section. Onto the door goes Ben Rogers, and across the line they go. Young Jack Rogers will be watching on with absolute intent here to see the outcome of this one.
Yeah, Jack and Sharon absent, I believe, today for the first time ever in Ben's drifting career, but I think it's going to be a very, very close one. Ben had very much a great chase there, really good proximity throughout pretty much, pops through the transition there and makes his way onto the quarter panel of the Clareman. But I don't know, there was a big enough mistake. It wasn't a huge one, that waiver, but it's going to be his advantage of his chase versus the disadvantage of this. He doesn't lose drift, okay, he doesn't totally lose drift. It's quite a big correction for a pro competition, so the judges will give him a significant deduction. A pro driver is supposed to be smooth throughout the course. McInerney definitely didn't have the proximity that Rogers had then either for the rest of the run. Was McInerney put off? Did he, could he not get proximity because he had to drop back to avoid collision? I don't know. It's going to be a very close call. I think it might be 6 1/2 dozen and the other. They might cancel each other out. The judges might want to see it go one more time, so we'll have to wait and see, guys, and see what the judges make of it. Of course, 3 judges: Tomas Falvey, Conor Falvey and Kieran Hines. And once again, guys, IDS is brought to you by driftmagazine.eu, ECU Master, GMD Tyre and Service Centre, Garrett and the guys there. Group D, down in Cork where I work, Lucky Day Competitions, Nisuba, who make fantastic fabrication parts for lots of cars like the S chassis, of course. Red Bull, as we mentioned earlier. Shift AM, our media partner. Check out that series on YouTube. Strom Wheels, supporting Dwayne McKeever this weekend and running half the cars on the grid with their wheels. Tommy Smith of TS Drift Days, CDM Sport. And thank you so much to all our partners, because you make Irish drifting possible. And guys, if you are out there watching online or here in the crowd, be sure to support those companies, because those companies support Irish drifting and make this championship possible, of course, along with the Heinz family, who took over the mantle a couple of years ago and made this championship into what it is these days. And it is a fantastic set up for bringing young up-and-coming drivers through the ranks, as you can see. And the system works because, as you can see, half the grid are under the age of 20, and they're putting it up to guys with twice their age and twice their experience, and looking for all the world like seasoned pro drivers. So the system works, and well done to the Heinz family and all the staff involved for making this championship into what it is and what we know and love. So the judge is still in deliberation here. Eddie is over eavesdropping and just trying to get some information, as Jason McInerney there waits on his car, and Ben also, the drivers, after chatting it out, they're not even sure, I think, between them. They're waiting for the result, and Babs there on the start line, ready to point in the direction.
There's something that's been bothering me for the whole day I need to ask you.
Okay.
Why is it that you have a seat and I don't?
Because I'm special.
It looks though we may have a decision in. Going through to the top 16, into that final spot, it's Ben Rogers. Ben Rogers moves on to the top 16.
Yeah, so they obviously can't hear us quite
Kieran,
over there, so...
you took some time to deliberate over that one. Talk us through the thought process. Ben Rogers getting the win, but certainly not clear-cut.
Yeah, so I suppose you have to look at a run, and a run is never just, you just watch it and you get a score. It kind of sways one way or the other as you're going through the run. On the first run, with Ben leading, he actually starts off well, no issues there. Jason has reasonable proximity coming into it, but then Ben angles up and shallows his angle a little bit, and then dials the angle back out again and gets going, then drops the wheel. So like he's messed up the initiation, he's messed up the first corner, and it did impact Jason. It did affect him. So at that stage, Jason has a big advantage on the first half of the run. But from there on, then Jason's losing the advantage, even though he gets proximity into the into zone 2. He has proximity, so he's gained back the gap that he lost. But from there on, he loses it. And he was always going to lose it because he's up against a more powerful car. And he loses it, and he cuts the corner at 3 and everything else. So by the end of the run, he still takes an advantage, but only a 6-4 because of the fact that he actually lost a lot of advantage he had in the first corner. When you swap it around, Ben chasing has a really, really good chase from the very start. I mean, in briefing, I said if you attack from the very first corner, you could be 6-4 to a 7-3 on advantage on the first corner. Ben does that. He has a strong attack from the very start. Is a strong 6-4 from the first corner, and he just capitalizes on that the whole way through the run, ending up with a 7-3 at the end of the second run. So, like I said, 7-3 for Ben on the second run, 6-4 for Jason the first. Ben takes it.
Thank you very much, Kieran Hines. Explained in great detail there, in the interest of transparency, of course, as we always try to do here in IDS. In the interest of safety as well, indeed. So, Eddie, does that actually wrap us up for the top 32, or do we have one more time? No, we don't.
No, sorry, no. That does wrap us up for the top 32. Mark.
That actually wraps us up for top 32, Eddie. I didn't even notice. So that is the battle bracket sorted for top 32 action, and we have some tasty battles coming up. Definitely, including the first one, which will be in the top 16. It will be Harry Kerr to face off against last year's Pro 2 champion, Jakub Krysiak, who is currently in the top 5 in the championship. And I would say after today might be in the top 4 of the championship, if not top 3. So crazy stuff coming up right into the top 16 from the get-go. And Eddie, top 32s can be a bit sketchy, but the top 16 always gets better.
Sorry, microphone not on. I've been
Put on the mic,
doing this today.
This isn't your first rodeo.
No, it's not my first rodeo, but it might as well be with how ridiculous I'm being today. But anyway, just looking at our top 16, I think it's so interesting that 1 and 2 qualifier, Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever, now both going up against 4th and 5th in the championship, Jakub and Dean Byrne.
Yeah, which will actually, I would say, end up to be 3rd and 4th in the championship after this round, because
Ryusei isn't going to compete.
Ryusei is not competing
for the last 2 rounds. So
you actually exactly. So your 1st and 2nd in the championship will face off against basically 4th and 3rd respectively.
Yeah, and what a bad place for all of those 4 drivers to meet each other. But at the same time, if McKeever could take down Byrne and Jakub could take down Harry Kerr, it's a huge opportunity for McKeever and also a huge opportunity for Jakub, and vice versa. If Harry was to take Jakub and Dean was to take McKeever, we could see a huge shift in positions here. But then again, if Harry Kerr takes down Jakob and McKeever takes down Dean Byrne, it's as you were in terms of the championship, and going into it'll only really matter from going on from the grade 8 as to what happens between McKeever and Kerr. But in terms of say third place in the championship, Byrne and Kuszczak would be at no loss essentially.
Yeah, of course. And Eddie, a little bit of insider information here, I guess. So Jakob Kuszczak, last year's Pro 2 champion. Obviously, I know him quite well. He comes down to Group D to us quite a lot. He gets a lot of parts there, and we build, we're involved in the build of his car. So I get, you chat about life sometimes. You're around, I'm at work, he's down there with his car, we're chatting. He says that he's going to do this as hard as he can for as long as he can, but that might not be that long because, he owns a company. He's got almost, I think, 20 employees in his own installation company, Jacob Insulation. But he's going to, he's just married. They might start a family, he said, and if they do start a family and, other stuff in life comes along, then he said that he might not be able to stay drifting. So will that be a driving force for him to take down Harry Kerr? Because he told me that his dream is to be Irish Drift Champion, before he retires, essentially. So is that going to be a real... yeah, he's not going to be the champion after he retires, Eddie, exactly. But is that going to be an extra driving force? Does Jakob Kuszczak see an opportunity here now to take down Harry Kerr and maybe set up a finale? If Jakob Kuszczak could take the win here this round, he takes home 100 points from the win. Could that set up a huge finale in Kerry? And if the results go his way, basically he could let himself in with a fighting chance of still winning this championship if results go his way. Now, it is definitely an outside shot, but we have seen stranger. And again, in Pro 2 competition yesterday, we saw, kind of 2-3 clear favourites for the championship become 6-7 people who can easily win the championship at round 5 in Watergrass Hill. So guys, as you can see on screen, if you're watching, the Hard Charger Award will be awarded this evening. Who is this round's Hard Charger? It's kind of like if you watch the F1, the driver of the day. It's an interactive crowd vote. And if you are here in attendance as well, be sure to get involved. Pop open the Irish Drift Series YouTube and drop in a comment there with your Hard Charger of the weekend, in fact. So it's this round's Hard Charger. If you felt it was somebody from yesterday, we will take their votes as well. If you felt it's a driver from today, say Harry Kerr or depending whoever it may be, just drop in their names in the comments there, and the guys here up in the tower will be counting all the votes, and we will be giving out that trophy just before the podium here at IDS round 4 here in Bishopscourt, Diff and Drift. So guys, just hearing here, we're about 2 minutes out, getting the cars gridded for the top 16. Of course, these pro cars go through a crazy amount of rear tyres. They absolutely annihilate a set of tyres. Again, I was speaking with Harry Kerr's dad, Alwyn. They actually dropped the gearing of the car a little bit before the weekend, or not before the weekend, during the weekend, sorry, because they found that the car was annihilating a pair of rear tyres before 2 laps were over, and Harry was losing grip before he crossed the finish line. So crazy stuff here. Like, these cars are annihilating rear tyres in less than 2 laps, and the guys actually dropped the gearing for a little bit less wheel speed in order to maintain tyre life throughout the 2 runs. So the cars are just getting refueled, retired up, and we are getting in then with getting ready to rock with a rolling parade for the top 16. Going to get your top 16 drivers. The main part of the day is upon us, guys. The top 16 of IDS round 4, and we will be ready to rock with a rolling top 16 parade. We already met quite a lot of the drivers earlier and on the grid walk there, so you got to see those cars and drivers up close and personal, and we will get the top 16 rolling parade ready to rock for you guys in a minute or two's time. Okay, guys, so we are just about ready to rock for our top 16 parade here at IDS Round 4 in Bishopscourt. We're going to get the top 16 competitors, the top guys in Ireland currently all at the top of their game in on the track for a rolling parade. And Eddie, I'll let you call this, son. We have the best in the business right here in front of us.
We certainly do, Mike. The best in the business, Harry Kerr, top qualifier, championship leader. Joint with Dwayne McKeever, leads us out. He'll be going up against Jakub Kuszczak, and not the ideal battle, as Jakub is such an incredible talent. In our second battle in the top 16, there'll be end of lines to take on Conor Duggan. Conor Duggan making his way in from the Pro 2 competition yesterday. End of lines, of course, in his rookie season as a pro this year, and that'll be an interesting one to watch. Of course, Conor Duggan still on the road tyres. End of lines will be on those grippy Westlakes. Stephen Halferty then will take on Darryl Barnett in a battle of sheer experience. Two BMWs going war to war before Clark Hatton takes on Kevin Quinn. Then it'll be Dwayne McKeever to take on Dean Byrne in another huge chip battle for the championship. I've been told to take car